Welcome to my new moon in Virgo Solar Eclipse, because my ring says it so. I have not taken this ring off, and I'm really happy to be sat here today because, well, I'm like Dora the Explorer right now. I feel like I've been everywhere. Still haven't been back to Cape Town yet. Still living out of a suitcase, but now this is my home for the next 2 weeks. I am indeed now back in London. There's the body of water behind me. Gotta have it, even though it's a little bit brown and murky. It's the Thames, man. It's the Thames. But I have been through such an intense death walk, which I'm going to start to... Now I've come up for air, I'm going to start to unpack and break it down into some videos and see if it resonates, you know. But wow, have we all just been through something absolutely monumentally massive. Yesterday I was still in bed. Yesterday I was still purging, and I haven't stopped. And when I say purging, I'm talking about being in public, having panic attacks and bursting into tears and having to rush off to my room, kind of purging. And I have never, listen, I've been through some dark stuff in my life, but let me tell you, girls and boys, that was next level. Today I've kind of come up for air, still feel a bit like, you know, and that's what this video is all about. It's kind of almost breaking down the process of what we've all just been through and basically where we go from here. So we are indeed in the new moon eclipse, 21st of September. Let's rewind a little bit. 7th of September is when the eclipse kicked off, and that was in Pisces, and that was full moon, full death vibes. I was actually traveling in Italy, and I'm going to do a separate video of this because the medicine that I received while I was traveling, albeit very dark and intense and massive death walk, I've now realized my trip was broken into three sections: death, rebirth, resurrection. It was Venice, died, Rome, kind of got reborn, and then resurrection happened on the beaches of Italy. Very, very intense. And now I'm back here by a body of water. So water is key, right? Because when I went through this massive death on the 7th of the blood moon, and I was in Venice, past life flashbacks, died there before, didn't expect that, didn't even think that Italy was in my energy field. It was, but I was actually in the canals of Venice. Now the second eclipse being now the 21st, I find myself, and I only worked this out yesterday, I was like, I'm by a moving body of water, not a still, moving body of water, as was Venice. So my advice to you is be in near water, okay? Even if it's having a bath, right? Just make sure that you are in water to keep the energies flowing and soothe. Because I'm a fire priestess, 150%. But now, recently, I've started to level up a little bit, and I've got as much water as I have fire now. And that's all about the twin flame union within. I'm going to touch on that in this video, and I'm also going to do a separate video on the twin flames because it's just too much. There's just too much that has happened to actually put into one video. So I'm going to skim off the top here and then kind of like feather out to other videos as we go. Now, just before I dive in, we've got this month of Nephthys. Nephthys is the goddess, well, she's the lady of the temple, known as Nebet. And she is the, wife of Set. But Nephthys is also the twin sister of Isis, and we invoked her at the beginning of this month. And I have, as you know, been traveling ever such a lot. My last video was like, listen guys, tapping out. I have to get into the depths of this darkness. In fact, the depths of this water. I couldn't do any more videos. I was being called very deeply to let go of everything and be taken. And that was very much guidance of Nephthys. I didn't want to do it, but I was no good to do anything else. I have never been rendered so incapacitated and not even to be able to do a video. And that was my biggest challenge, to let go, because I always like to be teaching and sharing. And I was placed in Italy where I have zero control. So that's what happened. And I had to just sayonara, baby, and go into what I needed to go into my own process. I always like to play that game. Never have I ever done that. Never have I ever booked out and said, right, I'm not doing anything, because I've never been able to let go that much, because I'm always in service. And that was something that I had to let go of. I needed to become more flowing in my service rather than so rigid, as in like, you know, got to keep on going. It's very divine masculine in the shadow, right? So that needed to level up for me. So we were probably all placed in situations where our control was completely taken away, and so the space could be cleared so we could feel what we feel, right? And that is a big tone of this whole video, which is basically the message of Nephthys, because let me just bring her back into the space. So Nephthys, as I say, she's kind of like, she's like the dark, she's the night, and Isis is the sun, so she's the day. So they're a perfect balance of the two. When Isis and Nephthys work together, they're at their most powerful, right? powerful in their magic and everything like that. But like Nephthys is very much behind the scenes. And let's face it, most things that are behind the scenes and on the down low are probably most powerful, right? And she's very much to do with, you know, all of that kind of like spell casting magic and all that kind of like stuff, but also about the death walk. That's what Nephthys is there for. She helps you pass over, okay? She's very similar to Hecate, but Nephthys is Nephthys. She's, you know, and she's fierce as fuck. All of the demons fear her, all of them. In fact, her and her sister Isis, because she just blows fire, she annihilates them. Yet she's so soft and gentle, but she's got big black wings. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, but she has taken us through this walk. And what she kept saying to me is two things: stillness. You can only hear her in the stillness, and stillness and presence is the place where she can meet you, so you can go into that death walk of mourning and then walk through your grief. And the only way that you can pass through the other side is feeling your wounding and your shadow to the max. You're going into healing sessions, you're moving it away. You're going to make your journey longer. You have to just purge what you need to purge. And that, I think we do healings at the right time. This is your era of discernment. But then there's a certain time where you'll know, you need to do this. And that was me on my last video. I was in Rome and I was like, I can't keep bullshitting myself that I'm going to be doing all of the work. I have to commit to it. And kind of by saying to you guys, I'm not doing videos, I was saying out loud to Nephthys, I'm ready. And after that last video, holy shit, I thought I'd gone deep enough. She took me even deeper. So you will find that there was maybe a situation you got put into where you just felt like your hands were tied. And it needed to be so, because we needed to feel everything that we're feeling. So here we are on the 21st, which is a solar eclipse, fire energy, much more my vibe. Today is the first day that I've actually felt like, I could do a video today. I mean, you can't write this stuff. Tomorrow is the 22nd, which is the equinox, all about balance. Ma'at's coming in with that. So we're going to get into that just now. So just to give you a bit of a timeline, right, of what I've just walked through, 7th to the 21st. So the 7th was the initial death, right? That was the start of our eclipse season, right? Absolute death, 7th to the 11th, around about there. And then we went through the second phase, emergence, right? So I call it emergence because it's kind of like, yeah, you're coming out of something really intense, but you're coming up for air a little bit, you know what I mean? And that was from about the 12th to the 15th, and your head is crowning and you're feeling like you're being reborn. But let's face it, when you're a baby and you're being reborn, your bones are being crushed, your head's being squished, you're trying to squeeze through a hole that big, and like it's uncomfortable for mother and child, right? So it's still rebirth though, right? So then we go through this emergence. We're starting to go, oh, okay, I'm being born. And then we get to the actual rebirth itself, right? So that was for me around the 16th. I'm looking at my notes here, 16th. And this requires so much gentleness, because let's face it, you know, you don't just get born, you know, oh, I'm a baby, I've been born, and then you're going off and you're going out with your mates and going to go and ride a bike. No. As a newborn baby, you sleep for a very long time. And the reason babies sleep for such a long time after being born is because their soul is getting used to being in a physical body. Let's face it, you've been in this beautiful womb for ages. Tube connected to you, you just get fed on demand, nice and warm, in the waters. Now all of a sudden, bright lights, people talking, somebody put a baby grow on you. Fucking leave me alone. Do you know what I mean? It's like it takes some time to get used to that. Most people, when they do past life regressions and they come to the birthing place, they're like, I don't know what happened, but I just want to go back up there. And it's like that is what they call a preconception trapped emotion, which can happen when you're coming into the mother's womb. And also just when you're born, you're like, oh no, rewind, I want to go back, you know? So that's, it's not that easy, is it? Do you know what I mean? Death, rebirth, resurrection. So my point is beyond the eclipse, there's going to be some things that you need to, I was going to say to do, but inaction is an action. So it's more like about keeping this going, of being gentle with yourself and allow yourself to find your new bearings and your new you, because you're not going to want to rush around after this. What we've just been through is intense. That's not quite the word, but it is very, very big, and it needs to be, not to make it dramatic, but it needs to be understood, because we always think so small of ourselves, as to how much nurturing and space holding for yourself you need to give. And it's like, that's important, right? So now let's talk about Nephthys and Set. So even though Nephthys came in and on her own right, I wanted to bring her own space. When I spoke to her at the beginning of this month, and she was like, before I started traveling, she came through, wrapped her wings around and said, we're going on an adventure. And I was like, cool, let's do this. Into the underworld we go. I thought I'd faced enough demons to Kind of be okay with this. Not like the one I've just been through. Not like the one I've just been through. My goodness, she took me. But what was interesting was Nephthys stepped to one side and in her steps her husband, Set. And I was like, oh, we're doing this, which is where the channel came from on the post that I've just shared with you guys. Set will come to you to take you to a place where you have no control. There is nothing to distract you, no spiritual bypassing, nothing whatsoever. Think about being in a desert, no water, just sand, as far as the eye can see, just sun, no cell phone, no food, no nothing. What else is there to do except die? Nothing grows there because it's not supposed to grow. You're supposed to die there, right? So Set brings this chaos and destruction because let's face it, until you're brought to your knees, and we're very strong beings, right? So God loves a trier and we can really resist this, right? But until you're brought to your knees, which I was, you just stop fighting. And that's what Set's role is. He comes in and he bashes you around. And there's just so much going on. And, you know, a lot of the Egyptians, they call them like, you know, he's the devil. But you know what? He's got a bad rep, I believe, because I'm going to go into it in this week's temple classroom. But Set is such a powerful ally. He really is. He's an ally because he's the one that will show you the shadow in yourself. He'll show you the shadow in others. He's a trickster energy as well. So all of this is basically really, really important that we work with him in that manner. And he didn't let me go. And in a way, I suppose I didn't let him go. And when I got tapped out to the point where I really wanted to take my last breath, physically really wanted to take my last breath, that's when Nephthys came in. And Nephthys came in and then she took me off and she took me into the depths of my grief a little further. And she helped me mourn the old part of self. And then she showed me a little flash and like a little bit of a whisper, a preview of the renewal. And then there was more work to do and Set went and grabbed me again. So I had this weaving coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Because I think if it was just all Set, I don't know what would have happened. But they worked together and I was, even in all my pain, I could actually see what was going on here. And it was quite something, right? So Set and Nephthys, this is why this week's temple classroom, I could not bring him in because he's a very, very powerful factor as much as she is as well. And together, yeah, very, very powerful. So if you want to embody more of their medicine, come join us in temple on Thursday. So now during the eclipse, which is about now, and what you should have been doing and, you know, what you want to be doing now is observe. You know, I said it before with eclipse seasons, you know, charging crystals and everything like that and charging moon water. We don't do it because there's so much chaos in the world. It's too much and there's too much chaos around. That's what's going to go into that. So you want to leave that alone. And there's no need to do that now because remember, for me, it's about the embodiment process now, the embodiment of you. I am that I am. No longer am I going to go and call in Hecate because she is me. No longer am I going to call in Nephthys because she's shown me who I am. And I'm her and she is me. Not in a reincarnation level, as in an embodiment level, right? So that is why, you know, it's really important not to worship these deities. Ask them to show you how you bring that aspect up within you. So now we are becoming, so each god and goddess you work with, they are teaching you. It's a bit like going into a school classroom. We work with Nephthys ongoing because she's now taught us mastery on how to die. We've now gone like, okay, we can go a bit deeper. And she's like, bit more, go a bit deeper. Bit more, you got a capacity to go a bit more? Yes, we have. And then as we come out of it, we realize that we understand so much more about the death process in ourselves. And that is what mastering their ascended mastery within ourselves look like. So once you kind of like work with them ever such a lot ongoing, all of a sudden you become them. And then without realizing it throughout your life and in certain situations, you just think, God, I haven't had a death like that for a while. Why? Because you've embodied the power of Nephthys and you have mastered the death process, which means it's not going to feel as flippin' intense as it was because you've mastered it. Because you're always going to go through something, but like the less you resist, the more flowing water you're going to feel, right? So that is how it goes. I mean, let's face it, we've all been working with Sekhmet for years. I know I have. And I remember her first initiation she gave me were fiery hot, like next level. Now she does it. I'm ready for it and I understand it and I know what's required. So I can work with her a lot better because I've got to know her in me. So this is how it's going to work for you, right? So feel it. This is what Nephthys says. You know, there's nothing for, if you start doing lots of healing sessions around this time in the energy of like, God, just take it away, take it away, take it away. Then you're just going to slow your process down, right? So you got to feel it. And I think that it's important that we speak about this is because you got to just know that it's okay to just feel it, because we sometimes feel quite useless, don't we? And we're like, oh, we should be up doing something. I should be throwing some oracle cards. No, you shouldn't, love. No. Just feel it. And you're going to want to crawl out of yourself. You're going to want to just like go out and just distract yourself. You're going to want to have a healing session. You want to go and get somebody to tell you about you for an hour, tarot reading, you know, like anything. What are you doing that for? Just to give yourself a bit of hope, but you're still going to feel shit. So just feel it. Just feel it no matter what. Don't water it down because you're only going to have to go back to it. If you're going to do it, do it. You know what I mean? Dive into it. And that's when Nephthys can grant you the renewal. Okay. That's really, really, really important, you know? So trust versus faith. I had a good chat to my friend about this actually, and we had the same theories on this, but like explained it different. Trust and faith are two different things. Trust comes from a belief system. Okay. You know, trusting is like, okay, I believe that I'm going to be okay. I trust that I'm going to be okay. That comes from here, belief. Now think about it. Like, you know, I've written here, trust. Okay, so you start here, trust. Okay, so I'm going to trust in this death process. I'm going in, right? Because my belief system tells me I'm going to be okay. I trust that this is going to mean something. Then when we kind of flick over to faith, that's beyond a belief system. That is the I am presence, you know, that faith is like, there's a plan. I have so much faith that I am God consciousness. I have faith that I'm all part of this oneness. And in truth, all of this illusion is just bullshit. And I'm actually going to be okay. That's my faith, right? So trust is a mental body thing, and faith is I don't know. It's like it's an I am presence, you know? So the one will lead you into the other, okay? So going into this eclipse season, coming out of it, trusting it, and then having faith that there's a plan. And that's what I kept telling myself. I kept telling myself all the way through this, there's a plan. I'm going to be okay. There's a plan. So now my next point is, and as I say, I've got so much to share here. Twin flames. Got to talk about twin flames. I've been married for 25 years. Nearly wasn't the other day. I've been through this many times where my relationship goes through a death. Even the relationship with my kids. I was like, and I do believe that my kids are part of this twin flame consciousness. Every single, like I look at Bevan and Ava, they have the twin flame frequency. Me and my son are questioning whether he was actually my twin flame, but it's not, it's my husband. But it's like, we all hold the same consciousness. And it was weird because every single one of them was mirroring back to me so badly that it was kicking me away from them because I was being shown my codependency with each and every one of them, son, daughter, husband. And I was like, wow. And it was almost like a force field. When I would go in and go and reach for my safe space, my husband, he was the last place I wanted to be. And it was like, there was a reason for that. So I'm going to do a video on this, probably the next one. But anyway, look out for it because it's coming. Because this is really powerful, because this eclipse really, really is tapping relationships. Some are going to have to go. Sorry, dunzos, finito. Some will be upgraded. Some need to more understanding because they are mirrors. How do we run with that and get past our initial wounding and freaking out? And I'm going to kind of like, you know, everything's up for review because the ultimate relationship that has to be cleared up is the one with yourself. That's the twin flame balance. Now, I am a fire priestess, as you know, because I'm a priestess of Sekhmet and a priestess with a pimple. We've spoken about all of this. Water, I have had to work for many, many years in this lifetime to bring the water element in because I've been too much fire. And I started this eclipse season around a body of water and I'm like ending it here. So I now know that my balance is good, especially what I've just been through. And as a result, I have much wisdom to share and navigational skills, map and compass stuff for the twin flames. And all relationships will be mirroring mirroring to you exactly what you need to get right on. So get over the blame factor and then start to deep dive here. It's painful, yeah, look at it yourself, but once you do that, then you'll start to figure it out, okay? So letting go of the need to know, that's another thing, because you freak out because you want to be pacified, comforted about where are we going with all of this. You know what I mean? You got to let that go because you don't know. I don't know. I always know what's going on, but that's the divine masculine who's taken a step back. He's securing me and making me feel safer. I was going to say safer as a process. And my divine feminine is just like, yeah, it's the divine feminine mysteries. You don't need to know. You just need to be in flow. Okay. So trusting the mirror, trusting that what is being shown to you, you know, it's like, for example, I reach my husband for safety because he's my safe space. Then the thing and support. And then the last play out of the last 6 months, I've been shown how unsupported I believe I am. So if that's not happening for me out there, then I've got to grab support, or I've got to I've got to work with my support inside. I've got to love myself a little bit more. I've got to put myself in situations where I choose to put myself in those safe situations. That's my choice. That's not for somebody else's job to make me feel safe. It's not somebody else's job for me to be supported. It's mine. And then guess what? Then the relationships will reflect back to me that support. But I can't bypass here and expect everybody else to do it for me, because that is codependency. And I didn't think I had much codependency left in me, but I have just been served my ass on a plate. And there was much I needed to look at, don't mind saying. So I'm going to do a twin flame video on this because it is it's important, and this is what this eclipse has really brought up. It's probably a big core of this journey. Now, embodiment. Last thing I'm going to finish up on here, embodiment and balance, right? So basically, if your guides aren't speaking to you that loudly, it's okay, because you're going through an embodiment process. Sekhmet is within me, Nephthys is within me, and if you really, really need to know something and you're not hearing it, trust me, spirit will come in and chuck a flying fish, smack you in the face. You know what I mean? It'll turn up, and that comes from the faith that you have strong faith and you trust that it will be shown to you. Anything you've missed will be shown to you, right? So now, like, the guides are speaking a bit quieter, because at some point, eventually, I'm 49 years old, okay? I'm not going to phone my mom for advice because I've figured out a lot of stuff in my life now on my own. Like, my kids are getting older now. They're not going to phone me all the time. Bit by bit, they're going to start to make decisions on their own. So this is the thing, it's like, as you become like more kind of like embodied with the energy and everything like that, and your guides and everything like that, the guides are going to step away because they want you to embody them, because we're all one consciousness, right? Makes sense? Heart of one. So Sekhmet isn't separate of me, nor is Thoth, nor is Nephthys, nor is, Seshat, whatever. They're not separate of me. They're in me. So don't seek out their kingdom of heaven is within you, right? So the more you understand that, embody that, of course you're not going to hear them loudly, because the advice and the profound words that come out of your mouth, it's you speaking, because you are them. So let's speak of like message from there. It's like, no, message from you, own it. So where we are now, where do we go from here? So tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, is the equinox. So we are on the 22nd tomorrow, okay? Double twos, portal day. And it is all about balance, okay? Now I am in London. They're going into their autumn, a couple of weeks time, go off to Cape Town, into our summer. I'm just chasing the sun. I mean, what can you, I've had a lot of water. I'm chasing the sun. So basically it depends where you are. You might want to be going inward now because you're coming into your winter. And if you're in the summer, you're going to be like me, solar energy. Let's do this, because I've just done what I've done, right? So whatever, it's all good, right? But it's Ma'at energy, Ma'at, balance in the scales, justice, law, order, truth. Okay, it's all about balance. Now, there's much that I'm going to speak about in the world events, not in this video now, but kind of gather yourself today, enjoy the new moon energies, because they're very, very renewing, especially with these waters behind me. It's all about rebirth, but also as well, Ma'at. She's going to bring up areas in your life that need to be balanced. Okay, justice. People think justice is like, oh, he's been bad, take him to court. Justice is about every single person in this world has the right to be fed, to be warm, to be cared for, to be loved. Every single person has that birthright. That's justice, actually. So if we don't have that, where are the scales imbalanced? So where are your needs being met? And by who? Are you expecting someone else to fill your cup, or does that balance need to come from you within? Everything is within. So balance, just call in Ma'at and she will show you all sorts of cosmic truth, which is going to assist you greatly in the integration time now after the eclipse. So I'm going to leave that there because that's actually quite a big video. I'm so happy I've got a decent backdrop as well, because my goodness, I've been struggling with being in good places for good videos, and I will be sharing more videos with you. And otherwise I will see you on Thursday, 5 p.m. London time, and we're going to do some really powerful work with Nephthys and Set, and really kind of like further embody and integrate all of this energy from this month. Thank you always for being here and showing up. As I say, we've got some offerings here, which is basically, I've said in the other video, the Heca codes. Now I've said it before and I'll say it again now. You're going to start to feel the movements and the awakening of like your purpose within you now. I told you Sekhmet's going to be activating you, especially through the Lion's Gate. Much is going to come to the surface now, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of you that have been initiated to walk in Egypt, because I know there's a lot of space holders out there, and I know there's a lot of you that are meant to do what I do, and there's a lot of you that are meant to do certain things in certain areas. It's all about purpose, and that's why Sekhmet's calling you in to bid and do her work, right? So the tour in May, which is the 2026 tour to Egypt with me, with Sekhmet, that is a very, very initiatory kind of like a big version of the temple, actually, in the classroom that I teach in physical form. And then of course we have the Heca codes as well, which Heca is intention plus action equals creation. So you're all alchemists. You've all got a powerful purpose of being here. So there may be some of you that are now really, really feeling the fires, the flames of Sekhmet, of just like, right, okay, I want to start to extract all of this magic that I've now awoken and activated it, and give it some sense of order so I can start to bring it into the physical world and play with it. It's not intense, it's not a have to do, but you are a creator, and you expressing yourself fully in the world exactly as you're supposed to be, you know what I mean? Because when we're not doing that, we're unhappy bodies. It's like stagnant water. The water needs to flow. So like I say, the Heca codes, it's not advertised on my website, the mentorship, but the single sessions are. But either way, I'm back online now. Pop me an email, pop me a comment, and let's just create, man. It's time. So now, with many blessings from me to you on this eclipse, new moon, I really do hope that you've come out the other side, and if not, it's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. Peace.